Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Our mission today is an exploration of institutional ambition. Specifically, how an organization takes a really modest beginning and turns it into a global powerhouse in less than a century.
Right.
We are tracking the University of Houston, looking at its pretty dramatic transformation from, a small local night college into one of the country's most significant public research engines.
And it's more than just a success story, isn't it? It's a case study in strategic adaptation, and it's accelerated by the sheer growth of Houston, the city itself.
Oh, absolutely.
When you look at the institution today, the scale is just immediately apparent. H is now classified as an R1 research university.
Which is the highest level you can get.
It's the highest level of research activity, exactly. And it is the fourth largest university in Texas, with an enrollment projected at, 48,950 students in fall 2025.
Almost 50,000. And when we talk about R1, we're talking about what people often call Tier 1 metrics. This is a public university that's operating on a private sector scale. It's supported by a massive budget of $1.81 billion for fiscal year 2026.
All right.
And while the whole UH systems endowment is larger, the main UH campus alone holds an endowment of $862.01 million. These numbers, they fundamentally define their operational goals and ambitions.
But the sources make it clear that the institution's identity is defined by a lot more than just budget lines and classifications.
Right.
The University of Houston stands out nationally for its incredible diversity. It's noted as the second most ethnically diverse research university in the entire United States.
Wow.
Second in the nation. The student body is, I believe, around 38% Hispanic and 24% Asian. And that demographic reality, it's not just a footnote. It fundamentally shapes the university's academic structure.
How so?
Well, it influences everything from, hiring priorities to the curriculum itself. You see it in things like the recent approval of a Bachelor of Arts in Mexican American and Latino Applied Studies.
That makes perfect sense. And we see that theme of strategic, sometimes I guess chaotic evolution reflected directly in their official motto, in tempore.
Latin for in time.
Exactly, in time. But when you dive into this history, that phrase feels like a wild understatement for how quickly they've had to adapt and, often pivot just to survive.
Oh, yeah.
We're going to unpack some truly surprising historical details, like the fact that the very first air-conditioned college building constructed on a U.S. campus was right there in Houston in 1939.
And this dive is crucial because the narrative isn't purely celebratory. We have to address the tensions that are in the sources. We will be exploring the recent and pretty critical controversies that have rocked the campus, specifically surrounding safety.
That's a huge one.
A huge one. We're talking about a series of violent incidents in early 2025 that forced the administration to fast-track an $18 million security upgrade. And we'll also look at the detailed internal faculty criticisms that really question the integrity of the university's highly publicized academic ranking strategy.
And of course, no discussion of Cougar pride is complete without the story of the Cougar Paw.
That's a great story.
Its origin is one of those perfect examples of college sports rivalry, turning a mean-spirited taunt into this lasting symbol of defiance and victory.
Yep.
Okay, let's unpack this institution, tracing its path from a high school night class to a billion-dollar R1 powerhouse. So let's start at the true beginning. And when we say humble founding, we really mean the school was basically an evening side project.
That's a good way to put it. The University of Houston began life as Houston Junior College, or HJC, and it was chartered on March 7, 1927.
And critically, it was chartered and operated directly by the Houston Independent School District, HESD.
Exactly. This wasn't conceived as a major research center. The initial explicit purpose was highly localized.
Oh, was it?
It only offered night courses aimed at training future teachers for HSD schools. That's it. Its first location was housed entirely on the San Jacinto High School campus.
Wow. So imagine stepping into that first session on June 5, 1927. It was so modest, 232 students and just 12 faculty members.
And those faculty were pulled from established, often much larger institutions like Rice University and the University of Texas.
What's really fascinating to me is that the first session intentionally accepted no freshman students.
No, it was purely focused on teacher education. It was a practical solution to a localized talent shortage. We need teachers, let's create a program to make them.
And the central figure driving this whole initiative was Edison Ellsworth Oberholzer. He was HJC's first president.
Right. He was the dominant force who saw the need for higher education access in a rapidly industrializing Houston. And while that first summer was small, by the fall semester, The college had already expanded to accept high school graduates.
Still at the high school.
Well, they kept those crucial evening classes at San Jacinto High,
Oh,
but they had to add day classes, and those were held in area churches.
that immediately highlights the space constraints and just the speed of demand. I mean, they outgrew their initial spot almost instantly. This momentum led to the first major pivot, just 7 years into its existence. In 1934, Texas Governor Miriam A. Ferguson signed House Bill 194.
And this legislative act provided the legal foundation for HJC to evolve into a 4-year degree-granting institution, and that's when it was officially renamed the University of Houston.
The name change formalized their academic structure. By the fall semester of 1934, enrollment had jumped to 909 students with 39 faculty members.
And the university now featured 3 defined colleges: the College of Arts and Sciences, the College of Community Service, and the General College. It was a really rapid shift from just specialized teacher training to, comprehensive higher education.
But the physical reality of the university, it really lagged behind the official title. They were still nomadic, weren't they?
Oh, completely. The first campus of the 4-year university was set up at the Second Baptist Church. Then it moved the next fall to the South Main Baptist Church, where it stayed for 5 years.
They didn't even hold their first university commencement until May 1935, and it was, fittingly, at the Miller Outdoor Theater, because they just didn't have their own venue.
That whole search for stability finally culminated in 1936. The university secured a monumental land donation,
How much?
110 acres, from the heirs of J.J. Setgast and Ben Taub. This land wasn't just a place to build, it became the strategic core of what we now recognize as the permanent main campus.
And it was undeveloped at first, right?
Totally undeveloped. There wasn't even a road leading to the tract. The city had to quickly add St. Bernard Street, which was later renamed Cullen Boulevard, the campus's major artery, in 1937.
And this brings us to that fantastic architectural detail that just speaks volumes about Houston's forward-thinking identity. In 1938, Hugh Roy Cullen, a titan of the Texas oil industry,
A huge name.
donated $335,000, which, if you account for inflation, is well over $5.8 million today.
Wow.
And that was to construct the first building on this permanent site. The Roy Gustav Cullen Memorial Building was dedicated in 1939, and it was groundbreaking.
Literally.
It was the first air-conditioned college building constructed on a U.S. campus. Given the intense Texas heat, this was less a luxury and more an absolute necessity for attracting students and ensuring productivity.
You can't overstate how important that was. But that kind of rapid development, though, it was tested almost immediately by external forces. World War II led to a sharp drop in male enrollment due to the draft.
So how did they survive that?
Well, OH found a critical way to sustain itself. They participated in the V-12 Navy College training program, training radio technicians.
And the source material indicates OEH was one of only 6 colleges selected for that highly competitive program.
Which is really impressive. They trained 4,178 students in total until March 1945. This influx of federal training essentially stabilized the university during a time when many other institutions really struggled. It kept faculty employed and the facilities running.
Following the war, the institution made another crucial decision about its structure. In 1945, Senate Bill 207 shifted control from HASD to an independent board of regents.
Which meant it became a private university.
Exactly. And by 1950, it was a massive private enterprise. 12 permanent buildings, over 14,000 students, and more than 300 full-time faculty. It solidified its status as the second largest university in Texas by 1951.
Now, this is where the drama really begins. The shift to private status, which seemed like a step up, it actually became a financial trap.
How so?
Private institutions rely heavily on tuition, right?
Right.
And tuition increases just failed to keep pace with the massive expansion costs and rising post-war expenses. But when they did raise tuition, enrollment would drop, which created this cycle of financial instability.
So this precarious situation made the eventual transition to state control basically unavoidable, but it wasn't simple.
No, this was the lengthy battle mentioned in the source material, led by President A.D. Bruce. The opposition was fierce, and it came primarily from existing public universities, most notably the University of Texas.
But UT was against it.
UT and others. They feared that integrating a massive, already established institution like UH into the state system would dilute state funding streams and create a new, powerful competitor for legislative resources. The debate was protracted, political, and intense.
But the financial necessity was just too great, and the state of Texas couldn't ignore the needs of Houston. Senate Bill 2 finally passed on May 23, 1961.
And that allowed UAH to formally enter the state system in 1963. It was a huge victory for Houston, securing the long-term financial stability necessary for the institution to grow into the R1 giant it is today.
But we have to address that derogatory nickname that emerged during this period,
Oh,
Cougar High.
right.
The sources indicate this was tied directly to the university's low academic standards at the time, which critics argued were intentionally maintained or, I guess, leveraged to attract and recruit star athletes.
It really highlights a recurring tension, doesn't it? The focus on institutional prestige, often through athletics or later research rankings, versus the rigor of the core academic mission.
Absolutely. And the 1960s were a time of rapid social change, intersecting with this institutional growth. Which had historically been reserved for white and non-black students, was forced to confront segregation.
And the student group, Afro-Americans for Black Liberation, or AABL, they organized aggressively to advocate for racial change in a deeply segregated environment, ensuring that the transition to public status also included critical steps toward true desegregation.
That institutional expansion then culminated in 1977, which was right around the university's 50th anniversary.
And the Texas legislature officially established the University of Houston system, recognizing the need for an administrative umbrella over the growing regional campuses. Became the founding, oldest, and largest member institution. It had nearly 30,000 students at that time.
And since 1997, the administration has operated under a pretty unique structure that centralizes power.
How so?
The administration of the UH system and the University of Houston flagship institution itself were combined under a single CEO, who holds the dual title of Chancellor of the UH system and President of the University of Houston.
So one person is in charge of everything.
Everything. This consolidation ensures the flagship institution's priorities align seamlessly with the system's strategic direction.
And since January 2008, this crucial dual position has been held by Renu Khator. This structure, the leader of the entire system, also being the president of the largest, most visible campus, is absolutely critical to understanding how LH has executed its aggressive pursuit of R1 status and prestige. The decision-making is unified and very strategic.
So if you look at the journey, it's just a story of constant flux. From night classes in a high school run by the local school district, to a financially strained private entity, to a state-funded system driven by a single powerful CEO overseeing a nearly 50,000 student operation.
A transformation that truly unfolded in tempore. Now we move into the modern era, where the focus shifts entirely to achieving and maintaining maximum breadth and research intensity.
And the numbers are huge. Currently operates 15 distinct colleges, plus a rigorous interdisciplinary honors college, and they collectively offer an astounding 310-degree programs.
And the professional depth is significant. It clearly signals the university's intent to serve the massive professional needs of the Houston metropolitan area. They offer 51 doctoral degrees.
51.
Including professional doctorates in law, optometry, pharmacy, and, significantly, medicine.
And the sources really highlight the strategic nature of their recent expansion, which is focused on these high-profile, high-impact professional colleges.
Like what?
For instance, in 2016, the Catherine G. McGovern College of the Arts was established, which elevated the arts programs. That same year saw the establishment of the Hobby School of Public Affairs, which formalized the political science and public policy research that was already happening.
But the most massive institutional investment in recent history is certainly the Fertitta Family College of Medicine.
Oh, without a doubt.
That was approved in 2018 and welcomed its inaugural class in 2020. This move immediately put into direct competition with major medical institutions in the Texas Medical Center, one of the largest medical complexes in the world. It's a huge, expensive commitment to institutional prestige and public service.
And tying back to the university's massive diversity, the newest approved program reflects the specific needs of the city. A Bachelor of Arts in Mexican American and Latino Applied Studies,
which was unanimously approved in 2022. This kind of targeted program development is a hallmark of a public institution trying to align its academic offerings with its rapidly changing local demographics.
From an academic quality standpoint, UH maintains high marks. They are one of only 4 public universities in Texas to boast a Phi Beta Kappa chapter.
And their faculty includes internationally recognized figures like Nobel Peace Prize laureate Jody Williams and National Medal of Science recipient Paul Chu from the physics department, who is known for his work in superconductivity.
But the key mission, the reason for that $1.81 billion budget, is the R1 classification.
Right. This is the Carnegie Foundation's designation for a doctoral degree granting institution with highest research activity. It is the goal that dominates the modern administrative agenda.
And for the listener who might not be steeped in academic jargon, let's just unpack R1 for a second. It's more than just a title. It demands verifiable metrics, primarily centered on research spending and the volume of PhDs awarded.
It recognizes UOH as one of only 9 universities in Texas with this classification. The commitment is tangible. In 2018 alone, the university spent $177 million on research and development.
And where is that money going?
Well, UAH operates over 40 research centers and institutes focusing on massive interdisciplinary challenges. Historically, this includes superconductivity. They are home to the Texas Center for Superconductivity. But they have strategically expanded into space commercialization, biomedical sciences and engineering, energy, natural resources, and, critically, artificial intelligence.
They're making sure they stay relevant in future high-growth sectors.
Exactly.
And to ensure they didn't just meet the R1 threshold, but aggressively advance their standing, the university launched the highly publicized 50 and 5 initiative in 2018.
The 50 and 5 goal, led by Provost Paula Short and Vice President for Research Amr Elnashai, was simple but audacious.
What was it?
Increase research spending by 50% in 5 years, and crucially, double UH's national centers from 5 to 10.
And why the specific doubling of centers?
Because the explicit strategic goal behind 50 and 5 was to improve standing for a potential coveted Association of American University, or AAU, membership.
The AAU is essentially the academic big leagues. Securing AAU membership is the ultimate symbol of prestige and research power.
It is. So the entire institutional infrastructure is geared toward these measurable, high-level metrics.
And this intense, almost obsessive focus on climbing the rankings and achieving the AAU standard brings us directly to the critical counter-narrative found within the sources.
Right. The debate over academic rankings and administrative strategy.
On the surface, UH has been successful. They tout recent successes in the 2025-2026 U.S. News rankings. Placement in the top 50 for social mobility, the Law Center tied at 63rd nationally.
And the Bauer College of Business Undergraduate Entrepreneurship Program ranking 9th nationally. These are great talking points for recruitment.
They are. But here's where the deeper dive pays off. The sources contain serious, highly detailed allegations from University of Houston faculty members themselves.
And what are they alleging?
They argue that the university's improvement in the U.S. News & World Report rankings was largely an accounting trick. They say it was attributable to specific, advantageous changes in the ranking methodology, not genuine student-facing academic improvement.
So let's look closely at what the faculty critics were pointing to. They allege that the new methodology removed several key measures of academic excellence that truly require significant institutional investment to improve.
Such as?
They cite the removal of metrics like the percentage of faculty with the highest degrees, the percentage of students in the top 10% of their high school class, and perhaps most critically, average class size.
And think about the significance of those metrics. Having a high percentage of faculty with the terminal degree in their field and maintaining small class sizes.
That requires spending money on salaries and infrastructure. It's expensive and difficult to scale rapidly across a nearly 50,000 student body.
So faculty critics argued that by shifting away from metrics tied to classroom quality and focusing instead on research output and graduation rates, which are metrics easier to boost via strategic programs, the administration was prioritizing prestige over pedagogy.
So the argument is stark. The administration's policies, which are geared toward metrics that satisfy the ranking criteria, have, in the critics' view, actively eroded academic excellence at the ground level, while giving the appearance of massive, rapid progress on paper.
It's a classic dilemma for any mega university balancing mass education with elite aspirations.
And this systemic pressure manifests directly in the student experience, particularly around cost and workload. The financial pressure is just undeniable.
Yeah, the numbers are pretty shocking. Undergraduate tuition increased by a staggering 47% between 2010 and 2022.
47%. That severely outpaces inflation and places a massive burden on students.
In response, EOH introduced the UN4 fixed tuition program, which locks in tuition rates for 4 years, encouraging on-time graduation. The intention is sound, but critics allege the reality is brutal.
How so?
It pressures students to taking 15 or more credit hours per semester, often year-round, just to hit that 4-year deadline and avoid higher costs later.
And the data supports the severity of that pressure. The sources report a concerning 40% dropout rate among participants in the UN4 program
40%.
due to the intense workload and burnout. Think about the human cost there. Thousands of students taking on debt, only to face severe physical and mental exhaustion, failing to complete the program, and likely facing higher loan burdens without the resulting degree.
And the administrative chaos that we mentioned earlier seems to compound this academic pressure. If the administration is laser-focused on the 50 and 5 research goal, are they fundamentally dropping the ball on basic student services?
The evidence suggests yes. In 2022, students faced severe financial aid processing backlogs that risked having their classes dropped entirely. That same year, students reported being incorrectly classified as out-of-state residents, resulting in massive, unexpected tuition bills up to $11,000 higher.
$11,000 higher.
And then in 2023, you had technical issues with the class registration systems that locked students out of required courses, along with slow responses to appeals regarding residency and credit transfers.
This duality really is the core tension of the modern University of Houston. You have this institutional ambition driving spectacular R1 success, new professional schools, and global influence.
Contrasted sharply with what appears to be a systemic failure in basic administrative functionality and a potentially compromised academic rigor due to the relentless pursuit of prestige. That tension brings us right to the physical space itself, a vast urban landscape that serves as both a beacon of research and recently a site of controversy.
It's enormous. The University of Houston sits on an 894-acre campus in southeast Houston, officially nestled within the boundaries of the Third Ward Redevelopment Council definition.
And this isn't a sleepy rural college town. It's integrated into the urban fabric of America's fourth largest city.
And the campus itself is architecturally significant. It features striking designs by world-renowned figures like Caesar Pelli and Philip Johnson. It gives it a modern, deliberate aesthetic, which is complemented by green spaces, fountains, and sculptures.
It's important to clarify the institutional geography here, too. EH is the flagship, but the UH system also includes separate degree-granting institutions like UH Clear Lake, UHCL, and UH Downtown, UHD.
Right. And the main UH campus we are discussing also operates smaller instructional sites in growing areas like Sugar Land and Katy, extending its reach into the wider metro area.
The main campus is logically organized into 5 core districts to manage its functional complexity.
Yeah, let's break down how this massive acreage is utilized, starting with the heart of the institution, the Central District.
The Central District is the academic core and the historical nexus. This is where you find the MD Anderson Library, the Honors College, and the core liberal arts and natural sciences buildings.
It holds the original landmarks, the historic Roy G. Cullen building we discussed earlier, the old Science Building, and the Ezekiel W. Cullen building, all surrounding central green spaces like the Cullen Family Plaza reflecting pool and Lynn Usen Park.
This is where students go for their core academic life.
Moving north, you have the Arts District, which is where the creative energy is housed. It contains the Moores School of Music, the Gerald D. Hines College of Architecture and Design, and the School of Theater and Dance.
And crucially, it hosts the Blaffer Art Museum,
Right.
which maintains a mission focused on contemporary art from emerging and often underrepresented artists, reflecting the university's diverse student population.
Then adjacent to the academic core, in the northeast and east, is the Professional District.
And this area is intensely focused on the university's high-profile, high-impact professional programs, the Law Center, the massive Cullen College of Engineering, and a C.T. Bauer College of Business,
which is situated near the main university center, providing a hub for student activity and services.
Then the residential district occupies the southern portion, housing thousands of undergraduates. This is where you find the large housing complexes like the twin 18-story Moody Towers and the newer Cougar Village I&2.
They also rebuilt the old quadrangle, now it's just called the Quad, and it houses nearly 1,200 students in modern facilities.
This district is also home to the Conrad N. Hilton College of Global Hospitality Leadership and its functional, on-campus Hilton University of Houston Hotel, which is a major training ground staffed by students.
Finally, the athletics district dominates the northwest and west sides, which is crucial now that the Cougars have ascended to the Big 12 Conference.
This district includes TDECU Stadium for football, the Fertitta Center, the rebuilt Hofheinz Pavilion, named after a $20 million donation from billionaire Tillman Fertitta, and the specialized Carl Lewis International Track and Field Complex.
And beyond these core functional zones, EH has developed key specialized facilities that emphasize its role in the Houston economy. We mentioned the ties to the petroleum industry earlier.
Right.
And that is formalized in the 74-acre Energy Research Park.
This park is massive. It's a former global headquarters for Schlumberger, which they acquired in 2009. It provides dedicated, extensive lab and office space specifically for energy research.
It just reinforces the university's deep historical and economic ties to the petroleum sector that fueled its early growth.
Exactly. And their media footprint is equally specialized. The Leroy and Lucille Melcher Center for Public Broadcasting houses KUHT Houston PBS,
Which holds the historical distinction of being the nation's very first public television station.
the very first. And it's alongside KUHF, Houston's respected NPR station. And of course, for student well-being, the Campus Recreation and Wellness Center is a beast, 264,000 square feet.
And it features the nation's largest collegiate natatorium.
All this state-of-the-art infrastructure only serves to highlight the shocking contrast with the immediate challenge that dominated the headlines in early 2025.
The critical and severe criticism regarding campus safety?
Yeah.
This situation escalated rapidly because it wasn't a single isolated incident. It was a series of violent acts that led to widespread student outrage and a panicked administrative response.
The most notable incident was a sexual assault at knife point that occurred in the Welcome Center parking garage.
And what amplified the public controversy was the administrative and legal response. The sources indicate the suspect was initially released the same day due to insufficient charges.
Which is unbelievable.
And that move immediately prompted the Harris County District Attorney's Office to launch an immediate review, signaling how serious and unacceptable the situation was.
And the incidents didn't stop there. Within days of the sexual assault, there were 2 subsequent armed robberies reported on or near campus.
And student leaders were absolutely unequivocal in their response. The specific quote from one student leader, Ihanawa El Opinion, stating publicly that the administration failed to address safety concerns for years, really crystallizes the deep sense of betrayal and negligence the students felt.
And this points to the fact that the problem wasn't new. Safety issues were recurring and often tied to facility negligence.
For example,
In 2023, parking garages had already been identified as crime hotspots, with 12 reported thefts in the Welcome Center garage in just one semester.
and students were protesting a 30% hike in parking fees, even as shuttle services were being reduced, so they were paying more for fewer services and less safety.
It's a bad look.
So faced with massive public pressure, the administration fast-tracked an $18 million security upgrade package.
Which included increased lighting, camera installation, and significantly ramped up patrols. But critics immediately argued these expensive measures were purely reactive, coming only after years of reported negligence and student fear.
This is a perfect example of the disconnect we've been tracking. The pursuit of R1 status requires world-class research facilities and millions spent on labs and professional colleges.
Right.
Yet the sources indicate that basic maintenance and security needs for the entire nearly 50,000 student body fundamental quality of life issues were lagging severely.
And the administration was forced to make a huge $18 million expenditure, which critics saw as too little, too late, only after a major crisis exposed the fundamental failure to protect the student population.
Let's shift our attention from the challenges to the defining element of the University of Houston's external identity: the Cougars and their enduring, often defiant traditions.
The spirit starts with the colors. Scarlet red symbolizing courage or inner strength, and albino white representing goodness and purity of spirit.
A lineage traced all the way back to Sam Houston's ancestor, Sir Hugh de Petawinan.
The Cougar mascot itself, Shasta, was officially adopted in 1947, and LUH maintained a captivating tradition of having live female Cougar mascots, Shasta I through V, until 1989.
Following a brief hiatus, the tradition was powerfully revived with a male cougar, Shasta VI, in 2011. And today, the Houston Zoo oversees 2 orphaned male cubs who serve as the university's ambassadors, Shasta VII and Louis.
And the spirit isn't just about the mascot, it's about the traditions that amplify the university's ties to this city. The Frontiersmen are the primary spirit group, and they operate something unique to UH, the Blaze.
What is that?
The Blaze is an oil field warning siren. This choice is incredibly symbolic, chosen specifically to represent the university's strong, deep-seated ties to the petroleum industry, which, as we noted, provided the key land and building donations that allowed the institution to establish its permanent campus.
It was purchased in 1991 and named in honor of a fallen brother from the Sigma Chi fraternity, which maintains the tradition. It's a loud, unmistakable symbol of the Houston-UH connection.
But the absolute best tradition, the one born purely out of rivalry and guts, is the Cougar Paw hand sign.
It's an act of sports reclamation that is legendary.
The origin story is intensely specific. It dates back to the first football game against the University of Texas, that long-standing rival, in 1953. The service fraternity tasked with caring for Shasta I, the live mascot, brought her to the game. On the long trip to Austin, Shasta tragically caught her front paw in a car door, severely injuring it and ultimately resulting in her losing a toe.
And this is where the taunt comes in. The Longhorn players and fans, known for their sharp rivalry, decided to mock this injury.
What did they do?
They held up their hands with the ring finger bent down, suggesting the Cougars were damaged or invalids. It was a mean-spirited, aggressive move that became instantly famous.
And to make matters worse, UT won that first game 28-7, but RH students refused to let the insult stand.
So they took it back.
They immediately adopted the bent finger sign, transforming the painful taunt into the official Cougar Paw, a fierce symbol of pride and defiance. They were basically saying, you tried to hurt us, but we own this now.
And it wasn't immediately universal. It had been using the victory sign up until that time.
Right, but while the new Cougar Paw was used again when the teams next met in 1968, the tradition was irreversibly cemented in the mid-1970s.
The year was 1976. The first year EAH officially joined the Southwest Conference, finally competing directly with Texas as a state university.
And that game was the turning point. East utterly routed UT, defeating them 30-0 in front of a record crowd at Texas's Memorial Stadium.
This embarrassing loss was so significant, it signaled the end for legendary Texas coach Darrell Royal. The bent finger Cougar Paw was officially and forever reclaimed as the ultimate symbol of defiance and athletic supremacy against their rivals.
Beyond the immediate sports arena, a major cultural tradition that links the university to its early history is Frontier Fiesta,
which dates back to the 1940s.
This is a huge spring event that recreates a 19th century Western town with music, food, and various theatrical exhibits. The sources note that Life magazine once dubbed it the greatest college show on earth.
And it historically drew tens of thousands of people from across the country. It's a testament to the university's ability to combine academics with major, memorable community celebration.
And that athletic tradition continues to define the university's image today. After cycling through several conferences, Southwest Conference, Conference USA, where they secured 33 titles, and the American Athletic Conference,
the Cougars received and proudly accepted an invitation to join the Big 12 Conference in 2021.
And this move is hugely important, placing them firmly in the elite tier of college athletics, matching their R1 academic ambition.
And EH is truly dominant in certain sports, which has built their global visibility. In men's golf, they hold the NCAA record with a staggering 16 national championships.
16.
And men's basketball has made 26 NCAA tournament appearances and 7 trips to the Final Four.
This includes the iconic Phi Slama Jama era of the early 1980s. This was arguably one of the most exciting college basketball teams ever assembled.
Oh yeah, featuring future NBA Hall of Famers Clyde Drexler and Hakeem Olajuwon. Their style of play was revolutionary, fast-paced, high-flying, and absolutely dominant. They captured the national imagination.
The football team maintains a strong presence, with 27 postseason bowl appearances and producing the 1989 Heisman Trophy winner, Andre Ware.
And finally, the Olympic legacy. More than 75 Olympic athletes have attended UH, bringing home a collective 41 medals, 20 of which were gold.
That level of sustained athletic success consistently provides the university with global visibility and reinforces that image of speed, strength, and courage inherent in their scarlet red color.
When you look at the alumni list, you quickly realize that the University of Houston has influenced not just the city, but the national landscape across virtually every major sector.
It really has. I mean, it starts with the sports icons, many of whom came out of those legendary programs we just discussed.
Right.
In basketball, the list is defining. It features Hall of Famers like Hakeem Olajuwon, Clyde Drexler, and Elvin Hayes, known as the Big E. These are names that fundamentally changed professional basketball.
In football, the legacy is strong, with Heisman Trophy winner Andre Ware, NFL quarterback Case Keenum, and successful NFL coach Wade Phillips. And it's interesting to note that even legendary Dallas Cowboys coach Tom Landry attended UH, showing the deep roots the university has in Texas football history.
Golf is another huge area of influence, thanks to major champions like Fred Couples and Fuzzy Zoeller.
And track and field produced true international icons, specifically Carl Lewis, who has 10 Olympic medals, and Leroy Burrell, whose speed and coaching legacy continue to define the sport today.
Switching gears to arts, media, and entertainment, the diversity of talent is surprising. From the world of acting, you have Emmy Award-winning actor Jim Parsons of The Big Bang Theory,
Great actor.
Dennis Quaid, the distinguished stage and screen actress Loretta Devine, and Brent Spiner, known globally as Data from Star Trek: The Next Generation.
The music sphere boasts global superstar Lizzo, a Grammy Award-winning singer and flautist.
And she studied classical music at the university, which is a great example of how this massive institution can provide foundational training for careers that span completely different genres.
We also have country music legends Kenny Rogers and Larry Gatlin.
And we can't overlook industry pioneers. Take Jack Valenti, the longtime former president of the Motion Picture Association, who created the iconic MPAA film rating system. He received his BBA from UH.
So that institutional DNA runs deep in Hollywood's administrative structure.
It does. Also in media, there's the notable sportscaster Jim Nantz and modern content creators like YouTuber Liza Koshy.
Crossing over into the digital and literary world, UH produced Matt Mullenweg, the creator of the globally used WordPress platform,
Which is huge.
and novelist Alice Sebold, known for The Lovely Bones.
And finally, UH has played a significant role in politics and public service, contributing figures across the political spectrum. Most famously, U.S. Senator Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts received her BS from UH in 1970.
And what is particularly noteworthy is that she also served as a faculty member at the Law Center, showing a dual commitment to the institution as both an alumna and a professor.
Other major political figures who studied here include former Democratic Congressman Gene Green and Jasmine Crockett, and former Republican Congressman Ted Poe, and former Majority Leader Tom DeLay.
And bridging the divide between education and exploration, former NASA astronaut Bonnie J. Dunbar is an alumna. The sheer range of alumni demonstrates how broadly the university's influence has spread across different sectors, cementing its status as a major talent pipeline.
So we've charted the full dramatic arc of the University of Houston, from its origin as Houston Junior College, holding those specialized night courses in a high school in 1927, to its current status as a massively diverse R1 public research institution competing at the highest level of college athletics in the Big 12 Conference.
The entire journey has been defined by constant strategic evolution, a true embodiment of its motto, in tempore.
Right.
It survived the political drama of the state takeover, navigated the financial pitfalls of its brief private life, and fundamentally modernized its administrative structure under a unified dual leadership.
And this aggressive leadership has driven rapid expansion of high-profile colleges like medicine and public affairs, while simultaneously pushing that intense 50-5 research agenda.
But as we have explored in detail, the sources present a very clear, challenging tension. The institutional success, the R1 status, the massive research funding, the high subject rankings,
That external prestige.
is constantly set against persistent, critical, internal student-level issues.
We've seen the reports of student burnout leading to that worrying 40% dropout rate in the UN4 program, the significant administrative and technical failures with registration and financial aid systems.
And the critical campus safety failures in 2025 that necessitated a reactive, massive $18 million security upgrade. All this alongside the internal allegations that the ranking climb was achieved, in part, by strategically compromising fundamental academic quality metrics.
This raises an important question for you, the learner, to consider as EAH continues its growth in time. Given the pressure to achieve elite status, like that coveted AAU membership, how must a modern public institution balance the high-level pursuit of academic prestige and massive research funding with ensuring fundamental quality of life, administrative responsiveness, and, most critically, the physical and academic safety for its nearly 50,000 students?
The University of Houston's story is a microcosm of the challenges facing every rapidly growing American mega-university. It perfectly illustrates the point where the demands of the global ranking game often collide violently with the on-the-ground basic needs of the student body. It's a compelling, complex case study in ambition, adaptation, and the essential trade-offs of institutional greatness.